For the last 2 days, we've been on the topic of happiness. What exactly is happiness? The Upanishads, the Gita, spell out a simple formula for happiness. The formula is simple, many of you might know it, but hardly anyone actually practices it. So, what is happiness? What do you think is happiness? Number of desires fulfilled divided by number of desires harbored. This is the formula for happiness. This is given out in the Kathopanishad. This is given out in several Upanishads and distinctly in the Gita. Now, using this formula, if you want to increase your happiness, what must you do? Either increase the numerator, which is increase the number of desires that you are fulfilling, or reduce the denominator. Reduce the number of desires that you are harboring. What are we all trying to do? Where is our focus? On the numerator. There are two things about the numerator. Any increase in the numerator gets totally nullified if there is even a slight increase in the denominator. And that's what's happening to us. Let's say in the last 3 months, in the last 6 months, in the last year, in our lifetime, can we not say that we have succeeded in increasing the numerator? Yes or no? Yes. But has your happiness increased? No. Why? Has it ever occurred to us, why is it that in spite of us struggling, working hard, putting in so much effort to fulfill desires and succeeding in fulfilling desires, the happiness that we experience does not necessarily increase. Not only does it not increase, it actually reduces. Has it ever occurred to us, why is this happening in my life? Obviously it hasn't, because if it had, we would have done something about it. It's there, but you haven't captured it. And this is because, what the Upanishads say is, this is because the denominator, without our realizing it, without our being conscious of it, the denominator automatically increases. In fact, while you are fulfilling a desire, the denominator increases by 4 or 5. And the system, unfortunately, does nothing to help us. In fact, it adds to the denominator increasing. Take a simple example. You go to a movie, you hear that this movie, what is it called? Black Friday. Isn't that the name of the movie? Okay. You hear that Black Friday is a good movie, it's not the common run-of-the-mill movie, and you justify to say it's something that I learn from, so you decide to go to the movie. One desire you have, you go and fulfill that desire. You think it's simple, but it's not so simple. By the time you before you enter the movie theater, you see, in the olden days it was different. A movie theater was a movie theater and that was the end of it. Maximum you had was popcorn in between. But now, you have, what is it called? Malls, multiplexes. So by the time you enter the movie hall itself, before you fulfill that desire, you pass by so many showrooms, so many displays, and before you enter the movie theater, already you've developed a desire for a new watch, correct? A new cell phone, what else? New perfume, new shoes, one more. Clothes, correct. So by the time you've entered the movie theater, your denominator has already gone up by 5. And then before the movie starts, they show the trailer. What is it? What do they call it now? Promo. So you see the promo of Eklavya, then you see the promo of what else? Okay, you are experts at it. And then fortunately for you, the movie starts. One desire fulfilled. Now what has happened? In that one experience, your numerator has gone up by 1. Numerator, you have fulfilled one desire. But the denominator has gone up by 5. What's happened to your happiness? Shrunk, reduced. This is one experience. Every single experience of ours is exactly like that. Everywhere you go, whatever you do, whatever you experience, your denominator is increasing at an alarming pace and you have no control over it. Not only do you have no control over it, but you don't even understand the danger in increasing that denominator. Because your focus is on the numerator. The denominator just happens to increase. It's like viruses in your system. One virus gets into your system and it multiplies at an ever increasing pace till you get hit and you're diseased and then you're out for the next 25 days. This is what's happening to us. And therefore, when the Upanishads and the Gita and Vedanta and all the masters and all the wise people in the world tell us, watch out for these desires, in the 3rd chapter Krishna says, desire is your greatest enemy. He uses 4 words, very powerful words, to indicate that we are getting, it's like we're courting the enemy without realizing what's happening to us. Now when they tell us that, we make the fundamental mistake of mixing up desire with object of desire. In fact, there is a double advantage with reducing the desire. The double advantage is, number 1, you have less stress, you have less trouble, you have less desires to deal with. And second, the incredible thing about desire is, the moment you rise above desire, the object of desire comes to you unsought, unasked for, serendipitously, happily. No struggle, no striving, no getting blood pressure over it, no getting clots in your arteries, nothing. So the formula that we need, see, when they say drop desire, they are not, don't have object of desire. In fact, what they're saying is, the method to gain object of desire, the method to acquire and enjoy the world is to drop the desire. As long as you have a desire, as long as you're craving for something, as long as you have a passion for something, the object of desire somehow eludes you. This is a law. This is a fact. Go back to your life. Whenever, at whatever time, you desperately sought something, it never came to you. And then you get fed up and say, chhod do yaar, it'll never come. By God, it comes to you. This is true in every sense of the term. You know, there's a gentleman, not a young boy. For the last 4 years, he's been striving to get married. And last-ditch effort, he went to, what do you call it, the marriage bureaus. You've heard of them? Have you been to them? He's been to almost all the marriage bureaus in town. He's asked every friend of his parents and his friends, please find me a bride. And last-ditch effort, because he failed in every other avenue, he came to me and said, please find a girl for me. I said, but I'm not in that business. He said, no, see, because one of the things I want, and he's got a list of specifications for his bride. You know, like you go with specs for a computer, like that, he's got a list of specifications. And one of the many specifications is that she must be a spiritual person. So he comes to me and says, find me a spiritual girl. I said, I am trying desperately to find spiritual people, not to marry, but I can't find. Where will I find a girl for you to marry? And then I asked him, I said, why can't you find a girl? He said, I don't know, I've been desperate, I dream about it, I do everything within my power to find a girl and I've never found. So I told him, what do you do? I asked him, what does he do with his career, is this, that and the other. And fortunately, he was some field, I forgot what field he's in. He seemed to be interested in that. So I said, why don't you do one thing? Just pursue your career, just pursue your interest. Just think in terms of contributing to society, doing something worthwhile in life rather than just finding a wife. And he looked at me. I said, no, just do that and the wife will come to you. And it actually happened. Recently he got engaged and the marriage is next month. And this has been portrayed in various stories. This thing of giving up the desire is so painful that you don't do it. And to get this across, for instance, in the Bible, they've given a story of Moses. And a voice in the wilderness tells Moses, there's a serpent there, a snake. The voice in the wilderness, the voice of God, tells him, hold that serpent, Moses. And Moses is terrified. He's not able to do it. He hesitates. And the voice says, Moses, hold it. He still doesn't hold it. And finally he gives a roar, Moses, hold it. And he holds the snake. And that snake, the moment he holds the snake instantly transforms into the famous staff of Moses with which he performed all the miracles for his people. His people were being hounded. He touched the waters with the staff, and the water in the river parted, allowed him and his people to cross, and closed in after them. And the people who were pursuing them were not, they all got drowned. You try it out, one by one. Focus your take-home point. One of the take-home points for today is, go home and pick on one desire and say, let me eliminate this from my system. And how to do it, we'll discuss now. And the moment you let go of it, there are people craving for publicity. Which paper is going to carry my picture and name? Which television channel will, they're looking for these moments of glory. And nothing happens. No TV channel wants to cover you, no newspaper wants to give you a name. And so you go to that newspaper and say, I will pay for it, please put my picture. It doesn't come. Then you say, let go of it. Not because you've really risen above desire, but just you're fed up. And you focus on something worthwhile in life. And you obtain merit, you achieve excellence. All the TV channels will run after you, all the newspapers